And I literally am like, I don't know how to find that document. Is it in Drive?
I dropped it in the G chat.
You
And
did?
yes, it is in Drive. It's
I
always
don't
been in
see it
Drive.
in GChat.
Oh no, I dropped it in the Zoom chat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Too many chats.
I'm like, how do I open Zoom chat? Oh, here it is.
I want to start flying in some of these moments.
Where I just have no idea what's happening.
Yes.
Well, we better be recording then.
We are.
Right now?
We are. That's why I wanted to tell you that be prepared for some of these moments to be flown in.
Ben, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have a disclaimer up front that this call may be monitored for quality purposes. Okay.
All right.
Wait, currency, stock market. Okay.
I'm gonna put some separation in here. Okay. I think you had the last one, so I'm gonna start. Hey everybody, it's I'm no expert, and Ben, and Jason, and we're back, and there's a lot going on right now, and that's a new intro, and Jason's flustered. He doesn't know what to make of it.
I was gonna say, did you drop that ball on purpose because of our last intro?
I don't think that's.
You're just gonna
dropping the ball.
ruin it every time until I'm like, fine, we don't have to do it anymore.
That is not a dropped ball, my friend. I shimmied. I zagged when you thought I was gonna.
It was a juke.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I'm thoroughly thrown off, let's begin whatever it is that we're doing that no one knows.
We are
now.
all thrown off. Yeah, we don't even know. Like right now at the recording of this, we don't know what we're gonna title this podcast episode, but we do know what we want to talk about because there's some stuff going on in Wall Street. There's some hedge fund managers, I think, who are maybe not getting a lot of sleep at night right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are thousands of subredditors who are definitely sleeping really well.
A small army with pitchforks.
Yeah, so GameStop versus Wall Street, and it's kind of funny.
If you haven't been following the news,
yeah,
GameStop versus Wall Street.
You really do. I think this is a classic. I don't know if it's classic, but you mentioned it, Jason, like a David versus Goliath scenario. And I think anytime you go up against Wall Street, I mean, this makes me think of the Occupy Wall Street movement, which was a little different. Those were just dirty tents along Wall Street. This is some pretty savvy Redditors saying, actually,
this is more of a punch directly to the stones. I mean, the whole Occupy Wall Street thing, it was, I think not, I'm thinking visibility, right? Which one of those things is more visible? Yeah, a bunch of tents in the street. You can put that on TV, but I mean, I feel like, actually, I mean, I don't know what the current exposure for this GameStop thing, but I was like literally just on Facebook or something, and I'm like, oh, what's this article? So people are talking about it. But putting up tents has no direct impact. Therefore, no one on Wall Street is going to pay attention to it. They're just going to like go to their office and stand and look out their 30th floor window at all the tents below and just wish there wasn't plate glass so they could spit on the people.
Well put.
But now this is very different.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little scary in some ways because, I mean, as far as I know, this kind of thing is unprecedented. However, this is exactly the power of the internet. Like you could, and I haven't thought this through, but you could take this model and apply it to other things. It's just collective action of individuals versus an organization or government or whatever.
An institution.
Or company, that's... So the potential impact is like, or the potential for it to have a much broader and wider ranging impact now that people realize that this is a legitimate tool of something. I don't know what it's for. It does appear to be a tool. So will people use it? I don't know.
Will people use it? I don't know that they'll be allowed to. Let's pause there and just, if you're listening.
Should we explain what's going on?
Let's just quickly, okay. So GameStop is the gaming company, and their stock was sort of like I guess it was tanking, right? Or it had tanked.
Yeah. Well, if you're over 30, you might know what GameStop is.
Right, where you rent games.
It's
a brick
it's
and
a video
mortar.
store for video games.
And so there's a subreddit, a group on subreddit called Wallstreetbets. And I guess word got out there that there's some short sellers of GameStop. So people who are banking on GameStop to tank even more, right? That's what you do.
Right. And it was a relatively, it's GameStop. Like if you look at their business model, if they don't adjust it quickly, like Blockbuster, they're probably going to cease to exist.
Right. It's a fair bet. Shorting GameStop was like, yeah, you
could make a logical argument for the fact that they were going to fail. And this is what all the big companies were talking about. And my 10-second explanation of short selling is basically when you buy a stock betting that it is going to go down. And if it goes down, that's how you make money. If it goes up, however, you're going to lose whatever amount of money that delta between where you bought it and where you're selling it represents.
The explanation I was told was, so essentially if I'm like the hedge fund manager, I'm borrowing a stock that say is worth $10 right now, and I sell it for 10, expecting that it's going to drop to 4. And then when it drops to 4, I buy that stock back at $4, and then the $6 is the profit.
Right.
When that stock goes up, you have a window of time where you have to basically buy more stock to compensate for what you're losing. And right now we're talking like billions of dollars, and there's at least like one hedge fund that's on the verge of insolvency.
Yeah.
Because of what happened. So what happened? The subredditors banded together, and they're like, let's just go buy GameStop stock and drive up the price of it
and not sell it
with
the intent of doing financial damage to these enormous hedge funds.
Yeah.
At the same time, getting rich themselves.
They did. And they drove the stock price up like incredibly into the stratosphere. And then these hedge fund short sellers are out billions of dollars. Now, it's the response, it's the reaction of the industry. You've got the White House chiming in immediately saying we're monitoring the situation. I think the SEC is obviously like monitoring it. You have, my understanding is, and I'm not sure now what's happened to that subreddit. I think some action was taken against that subreddit. Robinhood, which is the new like trading platform that everyone's using, suspended any purchase. Am I right? Is it just purchase?
I'm not sure on that.
Of not only GameStop stock, but some of the stocks in the other companies that this subreddit group had said, we're going to do this next to these companies. And BlackBerry being one of them. BlackBerry, if anyone, again, if you're over 30,
then you know what it is.
You know what it is. It was like the first iPhone,
Right. So, basically these Redditors were looking for stocks where big hedge funds were taking positions against them and significantly shorting them. So that was how they identified those targets. And they started with GameStop, but they're also like, okay, we're going to do that to all these other stocks. So 5 days ago, GameStop, I keep saying that, GameStop stock was at $42. Right at this minute, it is at $227. I think last night when the market closed, it was at like $350.
Yeah.
So you do the math, you bought whatever share at $42 and, it's currently worth $200 and some dollars. So that's great if you are a regular stock owner. That is terrible if you are a hedge fund who has shorted these stocks. My question is, there are lots of companies and people responding to what is happening right now.
Yep.
Nobody really knows what's going on. Hasn't happened before. They don't know what to do. I'm like, personally, I'm no expert, but I feel like short selling should not be allowed.
Why?
I don't know. It seems you'll have to ask Elon Musk. I don't really understand stocks and markets hardly at all. Probably one of the things I am the least informed about. But it just doesn't seem cool to bet against a company's failure in order to make money, particularly because the market can be manipulated, not directly, but indirectly by disseminating information. And what does the internet do? It gives everyone access to information.
Right.
So essentially, these Redditors are using the same tools that these big companies and hedge funds use. They're just using it against them, and now they're mad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, man. Fair game.
No,
like you guys started this whole thing. You hedge funds and short sellers. You made the rules. Now other people are in your toy box, and you're mad about it. Like,
right.
don't come crying to me.
Yeah, exactly. And they're crying illegal market manipulation. Like they're saying this is market manipulation. This is against the
But it is not
the laws. But then in the next breath, they are, or certain platforms are shutting down the buying and selling of this stock, which is illegal market manipulation.
Yeah.
Right?
What's happening? I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm with you. I say to hell with them. If this is, I'm power to the people in my opinion, power to the people. And I think we'll get into this, but I don't think Wall Street is a great reflection of the health of an economy. So when I see like the Dow is up, NASDAQ is up or down, I go, I don't think that's the greatest indication of health of economy, because there's a very small percentage of wealthy people who own a very high percentage of,
which has become more and more separated. I think historically the market was a closer reflection of like consumer attitude and stuff like that. And like now nothing makes the market go down, or at least over the last year. Like this is just one of those things that doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the market has continued to rise. There was a little bump at the beginning of the pandemic. But I feel like one of the reasons the market does not seem to fluctuate in what's the word I'm looking for, at the same time as consumer sentiment, is that the market is largely being driven by enormous organizations whose job it is to make money,
right?
Not by the people.
Right. And let's not forget that at the very start of the pandemic, and I'm going to flub on the details here, but I think you'll remember, before it was announced to the public, that this is going to be an issue, that this pandemic is an issue, we had congressmen doing like stock market deals because they knew that the economy was going to go one way or another, or stocks were going to go one way or another. That's, to me, like that's insider trading. We have just recently, and I would advise the listener to do your own homework on this, because I have not verified it across multiple sources.
Ben's not an expert.
I'm not an expert. Thank you. But Nancy Pelosi bought like a million or something in Tesla stock a few days before the new administration announced that they were going to convert all federal vehicles to electric. Like that's inside.
Okay, Martha trading. Stewart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and now we're going to come down on the people. We're going to come down on a group of subredditors. It's like the rules are for thee, not for we mentality that we've seen time and time again over the course of this pandemic in particular. So I think it's great. Like this, to me, this is the actual battle that needs to be fought in America. It's not like left versus right. It's not conservatives versus liberals. It's very much like the Bernie Sanders trope, the 1% versus it's the haves versus the have-nots. So I am all about it, man. Like I'm ready to grab my keyboard and buy some GameStop stack.
Well, you can't, because they stopped you from doing it. This is so unbelievably complicated. And it's also such a reflection of the time and recent history. And so they're shutting down these trading platforms. Why would you do that if no one's breaking the law? It's just that the big companies who have the power and money are being crybabies about it because they got beat at their own game.
That's essentially it. We're going to hear the whole too big to fail thing again.
But so with the whole deplatforming thing that just happened, did that just open the door for companies like Robinhood to be like, oh, there's external pressure, we're going to pull the plug?
Oh yeah, I think that's it. That's what.
Like, did action A allow action B? Those things when people speculate about the unintended consequences, I feel like next week is not usually when you see them. Right? It's
Right.
usually like long enough that you kind of forgot about the first one.
Right.
Like, I don't know if these two things are tied together. It seems like potentially they are.
I don't think it's a reach. I don't think it's a reach to at least point at it and say this is what's going to continue to happen. That established industry is going to lean on these platforms to the better, like basically to service the established
Themselves.
industries, the corporation, the Wall Street
Yep.
bankers, and leave the little guy in the lurch. That's just what's going to
Right.
happen.
And I mean, it seems like the road that, Goliath wants to go down is they want to stop people from competing against them, essentially.
Yeah.
But it seems like, to me, what should happen is they should ban short selling.
Maybe
Nobody can do it. Isn't that the fair way? I mean,
yeah,
like
perhaps.
if this model is, well, there are unintended consequences with that as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But philosophically, I just feel like it's not cool to bet against companies failing. I might be slightly biased as a company owner, and not that we're a traded stock, but just give me a chance. Like, take the thumb off for a minute.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the ethics to short selling.
It's un-American.
The sort of gray area there. Yeah, un-American to bet against. I don't
Isn't
know.
it?
I don't know.
To make money off of the, stepping on the necks of others. Oh, no, wait, that is American.
Well, I mean, The Big Short was just that, right? And in that case, it was short selling the mortgage-backed security. So it was basically like, we're going to make money off of people's inability to.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that whole
pay
thing.
Their mortgage. Yeah.
If anyone still remembers that, that is exactly what caused. Well, okay. I'm using hyperbole now, but it played a big role in that economic collapse. People short selling, and that when you short sell stuff, you want the desired outcome is failure. Yeah, and the bigger that failure is, the more money you're going to make. Yeah. So it just is like, it just doesn't seem cool to me, bro.
Doesn't seem cool, but a lot of people are getting rich. And I'll tell you what, once you get rich, once you have that power, it is very hard to strip it away. It's very hard to strip it away. And that,
which I also get, right?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
I don't think this administration is going to act favorably to the people, to the subreddits of the world, because their money, their donation came from Wall Street and big tech. That's their donor base. And
yeah, I always wonder how directly that
with the Republicans when they were in office, but I feel like that is one of the greater deceits, I think, right now, is that liberals might think that this administration is going to do what's in their best interest, but I don't think we're there. I think the Democratic Party has now just moved to Wall Street, big tech. Like, that's their donor base. That's who they're going to cater to. It'll be.
It seems like that's both parties at this point.
I think you might. Yeah, I don't think.
Which brings us back to the point you made, that it's like, this is where the little people, the individuals, the citizens of our nation and the world are just getting hosed by companies that are getting bigger and bigger.
Getting hosed. We are getting hosed.
And this is an age-old thing, right? I'm sure you can find people in the 1600s or something writing about, the division between the haves and the have-nots and the growing disparity and, the cautionary tale within that. Like, this is not new. We always pretend that it is. It is not. So, but, you always wonder, like, where the breaking point is, and are we closer somehow now than, I guess by definition, we'd have to be closer now than we have been before. But, how much upside is left? Or is something going to happen?
Right. Where do we go from here? Can the people get their act together and actually affect systemic change, like real change, to bring the power back to the people, power and redistribution of wealth, and the ability to, the happiness, the pursuit of happiness, all those things,
Yeah.
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I feel like you don't even have the means to accomplish that anymore, or many more of our fellow citizens, and not just citizens
Right.
of this country, but of the world, are denied that. And power and wealth has been so consolidated, particularly in this last year, particularly in this past year. So, I think the power is always in the masses. Like, that's we have it. We have the power. Reddit just showed that. We need to continue to flex. We need to continue to flex like we're doing on
Well,
this
the
podcast.
question is, do we actually?
Oh, you're gonna put out
Oh,
you're gonna put out my torch fire? What are you doing here?
pouring water on your torch.
What are you doing here? I was just getting fired up.
I know. Well, okay, because I'm always the negative one. I wonder, like, I mean, the larger number should always have power over the smaller number. Yet it rarely plays out that way. You should have the power. You have the numbers, but like, where's the gap between that but and like actual change in action? I mean, I feel like you almost need the support of government in this day and age to say that, yes, the people do have the power. I'm not sure our government is there at the moment. Like, compared to the force that these large institutions can bring to bear and the pressure.
Well, I don't think that the government is acting in the best interest of the people anymore.
Right.
So we
exactly.
we elect these people, but then they just do whatever their corporate donors tell them to do, or their Wall Street donors tell them to do. Like, that's ultimately who they answer to. That's the problem.
And I think specifically with GameStop, I feel like it's just a matter of fairness, right? Like, the individual traders are using the same rules that the hedge funds are using, but they're just now in this situation using them to compete with them, essentially.
Yeah, I guess, and honestly, I don't know enough about what constitutes market manipulation in the eyes of like the SEC.
So, I mean, that was like a paragraph in the article that I sent you, and so obviously I don't understand it either. But it's based on publicly available information on the internet,
okay,
which I don't think people thought about when those rules were made.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to call somebody or fax them or something, and to scale that is unreasonable.
Okay.
So it's publicly available information and people acting individually out of free will.
Got it. That's it.
And those are the 2 points that they made.
So there's no insider information here.
Nope.
It was just, and to me, and this is where I think I side with, I would say you, but in defense of the subredditors, and that is, what is the difference between getting into a subreddit forum and saying, hey, we should do this, and me telling you right now, hey, Jason, I just bought this stock and I think maybe you should do it too. Like, there's no difference there, right? We're just, like, this is what the world does. We say, yeah, I've invested here. If you have a buddy, or you've got a little group of like, investor dads who like to just get together and talk about what they're doing for investments, there's no difference there. I get together with my friends and I'm like, yeah, I think that it's going to go this way. Like, I'm looking at, I'm reading the news, like you said, all the information we have at our fingertips. I have no insider information. I've bought this stock because I think it's going to do well. And your friends go, that's not a bad play. Let's do that. What's the difference?
Times a million.
That's it. That scale is the only difference here.
And that is what the internet brings to this whole thing. And
I love it.
I mean, usually a hedge fund can have the same impact on a stock just because they put, millions or billions of dollars into it. So they alone move the stock price up or down.
Right.
And so, like, when a hedge fund bails out of a stock, it takes a big hit in terms of percentage, and then everybody panics. And they're like, oh, I'm going to sell my stock too. And that drives it down further. The opposite is true when it goes up. So, I mean, that is like disproportionate leverage on this weird system where other people are involved. And there's a big difference between, professional traders and private traders. But I don't know. To me, it's like the same tools. And if I was the government, I'd be like, hey, hedge funds, other traders, That's your problem. You figure it out.
Right. It's interesting. When was it? That was last like spring. There's a guy who's into crypto and he was like, XRP, man, like get on XRP. It's the crypto to, invest in. So I put some money in it. Not a lot, but I was like, all right, I'm going to see where this goes. And
Yep.
it blew up like a month ago. And it went from like 20 cents to, I don't know, 50 or 60. And everyone was looking at it going, holy crap, this is like, it's rocket shipping. Then the SEC filed like a lawsuit against XRP. This was always speculated that they might do this because they're saying it's a security. And so it can't be traded the same way. It's like violating all these laws. They file that lawsuit and then obviously everyone sells. People are selling it. It tanks. And then platforms that allowed trading in XRP halted any trading in XRP.
Yeah.
So it's like you have an industry just coming down. It almost felt like pre-planned. Like we see it taking off.
That's the thumb of power. And they're like, no.
Yeah. It was a little wild.
This is why the stock market is complete BS.
Yeah.
It is a fabrication of our imagination. And everybody's in it at the same time and being dumb.
It is
no offense.
A grand agreed upon.
But so in that situation or any situation where a bunch of bad news comes out, and now it does depend on what the bad news is, but in this case, the SEC, they stand up on the top of their mountain and they're like, we don't like this.
Yeah.
And everyone panics and sells their stock.
Right.
So what GameStop is showing, or this situation is showing, if you just all agreed to not do that, no one would lose money and the stock price would not drop.
Yeah.
So and this is honestly one of the reasons why I don't want to participate in the stock market, even though I do a little bit, because you want to
make money,
invest and make money.
Sure.
I'll be honest. But it's garbage.
Yeah.
You could just, if no one ever sold stock, I mean, I don't know then how you would buy it. I don't know how this works, but just don't panic sell. Right.
I think it's the reason I don't meddle is because it feels arbitrary at times. And like you said, it feels like it can be manipulated by those who have way more power control and hands on the levers.
Oh, yeah. All they have to do is issue a press release and a stock tanks because people panic. But if they issued the press release and everyone was like, whatever, bro, and just held their stock, nobody would lose.
Yeah, it feels rigged to me,
except as short sellers.
And that's why, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really love this move by the subreddits, because I think it's an acknowledgement, and saying, well, we can rig it to our favor, or not even rig it, but just, we can control it.
Right. I mean, people just were like, wait, this is physically possible.
Yeah.
Let's put it into practice, and they did. And I'm looking at the green line on my screen right now, and it's down a little today, which, down from its peak last night, which makes me very interested to know what is going on there. I haven't checked the news or anything, but it's probably because, at least part of it, because people are not allowed to trade. And so now the hedge funds are playing around with the stock price. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that is completely unfair unless all trading of that stock is stopped.
I don't know if it all has. That's something I got to find out.
But I mean, unless the SEC or whoever is in charge of that said, we're closing this stock to all trading, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a different kind of okay. It's still not really okay, but it's more okay than blocking out, private investors on a certain platform and letting everyone else continue to trade it.
So it's not even just Robinhood; it's other trading platforms too are restricting the trading in GameStop.
And they're doing that of their own volition, which is the kind of we talked about that already.
It would seem
that feels a little hinky.
Yeah.
The other screwed up thing is after hours trading. So the stock market closes at whatever 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern to you and me. Yeah. But if you're a giant company, you can still trade stock.
Still trade.
What? That makes no sense. Giant company, what would you like the rules to be?
Yeah.
We'll just go with that.
I love it. I love that this incident is putting more eyes on that, and people are going, "Wait a minute, really? That
That
doesn't?
does not, and
Yeah,
maybe
it's not
someone who's an
fair.
expert could explain to me why that is okay, but it doesn't feel okay.
Doesn't feel okay. No, doesn't feel fair." Um, you were, yeah. I mean, so okay. So you would mention something about a friend of your mom's and Bitcoin, and we were talking about currency. Like
Yes.
the whole Wall Street thing, sort of an agreed upon conceit that currency is really an agreed upon conceit.
Right.
But it used to be based, like the notion of currency used to be based on like a physical thing, right? Like gold, I think, is the one that comes to
Yeah, you
mind. But
filled your castle with gold, and that's how much money you have.
right, but in the early days of currency, it might have been like something else, like a giant stone, something that
Sure.
there was like
Seashells.
two people agreed upon had a value.
Yes.
And we moved to, like precious metals, gold, and now
Actually, that's a good point. I mean, are we just like back to seashells now with our little silly pieces of paper
I
and
mean,
bits and bytes?
even gold, if you really if you really smoked a lot of weed and put your head to a pillow and just like looked up at the ceiling and went, I don't even like gold. Like you can't eat it, you can't do anything with it. I personally
Why
don't
does it have
find
value?
it can't save my life in a any situation. It's not going to give me shelter. Yeah, like why have we given this thing value? It's a bit of a mind f when you go down that road.
Yeah.
And now, we've gone from gold to like the American dollar, which is even like one next step of sort of
I
arbitrary.
think it's more like seashells,
More like
except you
seashells.
can't make seashells.
I'm telling you what it's going to be, or what it should be. It should be like ammunition, which has gone from like
And
50
water
cents. Yeah,
and
and
food.
water. Yeah, I know. We might not want to go there actually. Things could get
Then welcomes the apocalypse.
pretty gnarly, pretty quick. Pretty gnarly, pretty quick. But when the apocalypse does happen, like bullets will have value. Water will have value. Seeds will have
Mm-hmm.
value. Gold is not gonna, in a life or death situation, or that, like gold has no value. Gold has
No.
no meaning. No meaning. I was watching 28 Days Later.
Mm,
Hadn't watched it in a while, and it like popped up on, I don't know what it
yeah.
was, HBO or something. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. And when he wakes up from the coma and he's walking through London and no one's around, and he just starts picking up pound notes,
Right. That are just
currency that's
blowing
flying
around.
around. And I was like
Yeah.
in his head going, of course you would do that. But then just as quickly go, this is absolutely, in this scenario, this is meaningless. This has no value.
Great tinder for a fire.
Yeah, great tinder for a fire. But here we are, like currency being this great conceit. I mean, I love going down that rabbit hole, and at the same time I don't, because it just it exposes the deck of cards, like the deck of cards.
It exposes the wizard
Yeah, it really does.
behind
Just
the
pull back the
curtain.
curtain. It's like, oh my god, I need more ammo and I need seeds. That's what I need.
Right. And we all like spend our whole lives working so hard to get it because you need it.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yes.
were just
Okay.
trained. We're just
No,
trained.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Okay, but okay,
Um,
your mom's friend in Bitcoin, you're saying something about like all currency is going to convert to digital currency if we use
right.
Bitcoin.
So the foundation of that is that both the stock market and currency, they only work because we agree that they do.
Okay.
As a global society, we have been like, oh, we have stock markets and this is how they work. We have money. It's like a printed piece of paper that your government controls. And we also agree that has value.
It has value.
So my mom's friend was expressing her concern about all these cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular, and that it was likely that Bitcoin was going to become the predominant currency, I don't know, in the country and around the world. It sort of has to be around the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that would never happen unless everyone in the world agrees on it, because that's how currency works.
Now, I'm going
which I guess is possible.
I was going to argue, and you said don't argue yet until we're recording. We are recording, and I will argue.
Carry on.
I disagree. I don't think it's when we all agree upon it. I think it's when institutions go top down. That's it. If you can't go into a restaurant and pay cash, if your bank does not issue cash anymore, that's it. You've converted. And
yes, that's a good point.
And the next level down that rabbit hole is what is tied to your access to that digital currency. And, it's however else those who are sort of in control and in power decide you need to comply on whatever matters you need to comply.
Right. So I guess when I said that, I meant we, not we with air quotes.
Okay.
And the we with air quotes being the giant organizations that currently
Run our lives.
Have their thumbs on you at this very moment.
Would you want that? Would you want to live in a world where there is no more cash, like no more paper cash, where we all use?
I'm fine with that.
You are. Now, what if
that's been the last year? Like, I have used almost zero cash in the last 12 months because of the pandemic.
What if we converted to a system of like social credit or social credit score, like is being implemented in China, where if you
really.
Oh yeah. If you are caught speaking out against, the government, for example,
Let me stop you there. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, your access to your currency or maybe certain aspects of life become limited until you get your social credit score back up. How do you feel about that step?
Yeah, let's do it.
This
consequences be damned.
This podcast right here would strip us of access to our Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We couldn't get toilet paper. We couldn't.
Yeah. We'd be doing this from a freighter in international waters.
That's right.
It seems pretty scary.
So I think, yeah.
This is one of those things though where it could be good, but people make everything bad.
Do you think that could be good, like a social credit score being evaluated,
like
because of your dissent, like whether or not you dissent against popular opinion?
Not that specifically,
okay.
But I'm just saying, like, in the best theoretical sense, the better person you were, the more that you had.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
No. Okay. That's a great.
But that, I mean, they're
who decides.
This reminds me
what's good and what's bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Corporations, obviously.
Corporations do.
Duh. Have you been listening to this podcast? It reminds me of a Black Mirror episode.
Yes, that was the one. That's anyway, go ahead.
Is that it?
Yeah, the social credit score.
Yes.
That's what happens in China. That's like starting to happen in China.
Honestly, why don't we should just take all of our ideas from film and television and make it real?
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is
it's so easy.
This year in a nutshell. Damn you, Dark Mirror, for seeing the future. I hate the future. I don't want to be in the future anymore.
Well, you won't be for very long. How's that for dark?
I would be one of the first rounded up for re-education. That's
yeah.
That much I know. So I'm getting all my words and dissent in now while I still can.
Yeah.
There will come a day when I can't. Anyway, ammunition was like 50 cents a round. It's like $2 a round now.
This happens every few years.
Maybe, but what I'm reading from the from the the manufacturers or the dealers is like this is a little different than it usually is.
In what way? Pace and volume? Because I mean,
yeah, maybe pace and volume and the sustained demand, the sustained and increasing demand.
When would you say that this uptick started?
Well, the pandemic.
Okay.
The start of the pandemic.
Well, I mean, the pandemic's not over. So, yeah. I mean, maybe this time it is a little bit different, but this also very, firearms and ammunition sales go skyrocketing every time something big happens that like might impact their availability.
Yeah, like a Democrat takes the, occupies the White House and occupies.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
You know what I mean?
With a little O.
It was. Yeah, when Obama.
Like September 11th, whatever. Like when anything bad happens, firearms and ammunition sales go through the roof.
Yeah, thank God for the Second Amendment. I love the First and Second Amendment. I'm just gonna throw that out there to everybody.
I love how you did that with the proximity effect.
I just got in nice and close. All right. Well, I think we'll try to turn this one around so we can get it out while it's still relevant. This GameStop versus Wall Street.
Wait, where are we on time?
I don't even know.
Because we're doing this Zoom thing, so we don't know. Yeah, I can't believe Zencastr didn't work.
Yeah, Zencaster. They did.
Zencaster, you're a
It is
big letdown on the video beta.
beta.zencaster. Yeah.
Maybe it's because of our content they have unplugged us.
Correct. There you go. They don't want us talking about this. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't put it past anyone anymore.
Wait, I had one more thing. What were we talking about? Black Mirror.
Bitcoin, Black Mirror.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Dystopia. Yeah, I don't know.
There was, I mean, there
Ammunition.
was that episode, I think, in the recent season of Black Mirror with the little robotic dogs that were hunting that person, and then like we see, was it Boston Robotics with the
Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics with the
dog. I so want to buy one of those.
That's it. That is it. It's just
that's what I'm saying.
Gun on it now.
Yeah, you don't have to like come up with ideas. You just have to steal them from writers.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't want to live in a world where I'm hunted by robotic dogs.
Don't you?
I don't. I really, really.
But you've got all the ammunition.
I do, and I don't know that it'll pierce the dog armor. I don't know how effective it'll be. That's the video I want to see. I want to see how to disable one of those things. Please, someone steal one of them. And
they're only like $80,000 a piece. So.
They have to be more than 80 grand.
Let's start a Patreon. No, it's like the yellow.
The yellow dog.
What it's called. You can just buy it off their website, and it's like 80 grand.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. How come you haven't bought one yet for the shop?
I mean, when they first came out, I mean, like Adam Savage bought one. One of those other YouTube channels that like just reviews crazy stuff. They bought one, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you could start a YouTube channel just on doing weird things with this robot dog. But I just have too many ideas that never come to fruition. So I was like, maybe I'll let this one. Or it could have been my thing that would have taken me to the moon. I don't know.
Yeah. A 1 minute video of you with that dog on a leash walking down, busy New York street.
I feel like you could do so many funny things with it, and people would just be like
at the dog park. Bring it to the dog park. Just that. Like program it to put its head out the window when you're driving.
Yeah. Or like lift its leg. It can play bow.
Yeah. Oh my
and like rock from side to side.
So scary until it self-actualizes and it comes online.
Yeah. All right. So Ben and I are starting a GoFundMe so we can buy a Boston Dynamics dog.
I think everyone will have a piece of it too. Anyone who contributes can own a little piece of it, and you can tell us what to do and how to program it.
It's going to run from LA to New York, cannonball run style.
We'll run alongside it
the whole way.
We got it. We got it right here. We got our next year of content. Maker Minute for this episode. Obviously, the subredditors on Wallstreetbets. I think you can still get on there. I don't know if you can. I
was gonna say, jump on that subreddit and get yourself on a probably Secret Service watch list because they handle financial crime and counterfeiting.
1.4 million users are on there right now, and there are 4.8 million readers. That's a lot of people. That's a good amount of people who all.
I wonder how much it's gone up in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Did you know the Secret Service was originally founded to handle financial crimes?
Is that right?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
When were they founded?
What am I, an encyclopedia? I don't know.
Just give me
Let me Google this for you, okay?
Like, give me a ballpark here.
A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
We don't have a guy like Joe Rogan.
Let's hear your mechanical keyboard.
Yeah, founded in 1865. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Parent organization is the Department of Homeland Security. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Listener, go buy GameStop, I guess, the moment you can. Like, get back out there. Power to the people.
Now's a tough time to buy though, because what if it goes back down to $40? I don't know what to do.
I know, it's never know what to do. Don't buy XRP. I think that one's gonna tank. Probably buy Bitcoin. Sounds like that's the future. No, actually,
Yeah.
I'm not. I think I might.
Are you giving financial
I
advice?
don't think I can. I'm not
I
giving
think that's
financial
against
advice.
the law,
I
Ben.
think that's against the law. I am not giving financial
Do not
advice.
listen to anything that
Do
Ben
not listen to
says.
anything I said. I'm going to put this at the front.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this one at the front for sure. A disclaimer.
All right, everybody. Here are my top picks for 2021.
I don't want to go to jail yet. I have too much to accomplish. Don't send me to re-education.
Wait,
camp.
is that against the law?
I think you do need like some disclaimer that you're not trying to give financial advice. I think, unless I don't know, but I'm gonna
Whatever.
my
Listener, your responsibility is yourself.
Yeah, seriously, don't look to me. But thanks for tuning in. We'll keep you all posted on the goings on in the world, the most important ones. I'm Ben. I'm no expert.
I'm Jason. I'm no expert.
Talk to you.
And we'll see you guys soon. Oh, and did you notice the dulcet tones of our voices? We didn't even manage that or mention. That's the word. This is fantastic. Bye.